Hello, music lovers. Welcome back to the Tokn Music Podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing Web3 and what Web3 is hoping to accomplish within the music industry. So, starting off, I think we should have an understanding of the problems within the music industry right now, right? And the main problems that I am seeing and that the Web3 industry is seeing as a whole is a lack of connection between artist and fan, or artist and consumer, right? So, let's just take this back for a second and look at what the artists are gaining from their interactions within the music industry and what the fans or contributors are receiving for their contributions to the music industry, right? So artists are getting screwed over a lot of time. They're not really making the money that they deserve, especially if you're looking at it from the sense of an independent artist, right? And if you're an independent artist, really, the main way to survive is to sign to a record label. And on the consumer end of things, everything is seemingly perfectly fine, but we're going to kind of go into that for a little bit. You're paying $9.99 a month for your subscription. You are getting all the music that you want and all the music that you need, and life is looking good. Life, like as a whole, is looking pretty good for consumers in the music industry, but there is a missing piece, and I'm going to explain that right now. So I love to bring up this analogy of Apple. Right. So if I am a consumer, I buy iPhones, and I can contribute to Apple in a way where I am purchasing their iPhones and making them more money, more profit margins to make more iPhones for me. And simultaneously, I can go to Robinhood or E-Trade or some other type of investment platform where I can purchase Apple stock. And in another sense, I can contribute to Apple by purchasing a share of their company and watch it grow over time. So I am growing alongside Apple. And simultaneously through that transaction, by purchasing that share, I am giving Apple the funding to make me more iPhones. This is why companies IPO, and this is why this market, this stock market has worked so well, right? And we can incorporate these same principles within the music industry. So the way that the interaction right now, that the one that I was explaining previously between the artist and the fan, is very linear. It's like a bridge, and that bridge has a lot of breaks and disconnections along the road, right? But incorporating this marketplace aspect, instead of just having it as a relationship where the consumer is giving their money and the artist is taking fractions of a penny and cent from their earnings, we can make this such a more universal and mutually beneficial relationship between the consumer and the artist. And I can explain why right now using that same analogy as Apple. So if I am a consumer, I can purchase a share of the artist and grow alongside of them while simultaneously listening to their music on Spotify and contributing to them that way, or through ticket sales or whatever, right? And this interaction and this transaction all mutually benefits both parties. Artists are finally making the money that they need to live. The consumer and the fans, their perfect world right now of music hasn't changed at all. They can still listen to whatever music they want at any time, and there are no problems. But there's just this alternative marketplace and this alternative place where you can invest into the artists and make money alongside of them and see which artists are going to grow, right? And this relationship also creates an environment where you can have more relationship with those artists, have more connection with those artists, and the artists can have more connection to their fan base, which is another problem that has been occurring within the music industry. Having everything being watered down, it is very difficult to make a connection with your fan base, even using social media, which we talked about last time, how to make connections with your fan base and how to make long-lasting and sustainable relationships and be on the same playing field as artists, a part of record labels, right? But now let's take a step back again and look at how Tokn Music is kind of going into this and making that difference. And there are a lot of people within the Web3 industry that see music as such a big opportunity, right? Because it really is. Like, there's a lot of value lacking within the music industry because it's decades behind basically every other industry. And there's so much value that is there and so much value that can be tapped, but isn't being tapped right now. Right. And I'm going to give an example of Audius. I'm not trying to gun down Audius right now. I just think that they're a good example of a Web3 company going into the music industry with maybe not the right vision on what needs to happen, because at least from what we've seen and from what I've seen, audience has been pretty stagnant since their explosion within 2021. There is so much value that can be created, but you have to be targeting it in the right sense. So the marketplace really is the best option for this, right? So how is Tokn Music coming in here and creating this value? How is that happening, right? How are other businesses possibly going to be coming in here and making this value, right? The way that Tokn Music targets it is through distribution. If you're not an avid listener of music or understand the music industry, essentially distribution is just how artists get their music onto Spotify and Apple Music. They go to like if you're an independent artist, it would just be on like a distributor like DistroKid or TuneCore or CD Baby, where you can just post your music anywhere and you upload all the song files. They send the music onto all of the DSPs or streaming services, and then they collect the royalties for you and then give it back to you. That's essentially where Tokn Music stands, but with one extra step in between, where like with that distribution process, the artist can say, hey, I want to create 5, 10,000, 50,000 tokens and sell them off to my fans, and I want to put 10, 20% of my royalties within these tokens. And then this is where it gets interesting. So now if you're an investor in this artist, if you're an investor in the tokens, you can now when you hold the tokens, you are allocated dividends that are coming from the royalties from Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to. So whenever you stream music, you're actually getting a little piece of that back through the dividends. And this is where the value comes in. So the skepticism in Web3. What is the problem that people see? Because it is not mainstream yet. If you are in the Web3 industry, I'm sure that you have talked at your family dinners or your friends or whatever, and they've been like, oh, Web3 is a scam. It's all hacks. It's taking our money. It's not. And a lot of it is true, right? It is genuinely hard to defend some of it because a lot of it has merit, right? What is the intrinsic value of NFTs? The answer is none. There is no intrinsic value behind the assets traded in the NFT space right now. That isn't to say that there is value in the NFT space itself. We can look at this from graphic designers and artists as a whole, for years not getting the pay that they deserve. Now the NFT industry enables them to connect with consumers and with people that are wanting to actually buy their artwork and purchase their artwork. And a lot of them want to purchase it because of the artist themselves. A lot of them want to purchase it because they see the Web3 space and the Web3 industry growing over time and kind of investing simultaneously within both of those. But within the music industry now, you can connect this Web3, this technology that people have been having a lot of skepticism with recently, and add real intrinsic value into it, put it in the mainstream. This technology can deliver real value. And once we prove it here, once we prove it in the music industry, then we can start branching out. When we can get everybody to say, okay, this has value, this has merit, I would possibly invest in it, right? I mean, there's not everybody that invests in the stock market, but you can say, oh, like, yeah, that makes sense. Investing in a company, I can reap the rewards and have a mutually beneficial relationship where as the company grows, I grow along with them, right? And this same principle can be incorporated within Web3. And this is really the value that I see with Web3 as a whole. It is in the marketplace aspect of it. It is in the connection between the consumer and the contributor, really. And that is where that's what Tokn Music is targeting, but that's really what Web3 is targeting as an entire industry. The music industry is just the best place to do it first because there is value that can be directly tapped, which is in the form of royalties. So yeah, that really is about it. There is a lot more nuances going into it on the reasons why people have skepticisms and how that is going to be alleviated. We're going to be writing a bunch of articles on this, so feel free to check out our Medium if you haven't already. Also follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. And also join our newsletter. That's also going to be in our Medium. And feel free to check out our website where we kind of lay out what's going to be happening within the next couple of weeks, within the next couple of months. There's going to be a lot happening in Tokn Music. We're going to be releasing our platform, and I don't want to give give too much away, but we'll be dropping consistent updates. So if this seems interesting, if this sounds interesting, follow us and watch our progress, and maybe be a contributor. Maybe be a contributor within this industry. If you're an artist, if you're a manager and you feel like you're not earning the revenue that you deserve, reach out to us. If you are just a consumer, and you think, oh, I would invest in music, feel free to follow our newsletter or reach out to us as well. And yeah, that about covers it for today. I will talk to you all later in the next episode. We'll be dropping it in the next week. So yeah,